Takumi finds himself transported to another world, standing before the goddess Nolan. The first thing she does is offer a heartfelt apology, explaining that his summoning was a complete mistake. She reveals that when a summoning spell is cast, it typically targets a random group of Earth's losers to transport them to another world. However, Takumi's life was actually going quite well, so he wasn't supposed to be included. Unfortunately, due to a mishap, he was swept up in the summoning process along with everyone else. The blame falls on the Holy Sidonia Empire, which recklessly activated the summoning spell. Since Takumi wasn't intended to be summoned, Nolan brought him directly to her instead of sending him to Sidonia with the other summoned heroes. Takumi asks Nolan if she can simply send him back to Earth, given that his summoning was a mistake. Unfortunately, she explains that it's not possible. Out of sheer anger at Sidonia for using the forbidden summoning spell, she immediately removed it from this world's magical laws, ensuring that no one could travel between worlds anymore. As a result, Takumi is now permanently stuck here. To make matters worse, the summoning process technically killed him. When Takumi realizes he's now a disembodied ghost, he begins to panic, but Nolan reassures him that there's no need to worry. While she can't return him to Earth, she can provide him with a new body and help him start a new life as a citizen of this world. As an apology, since this is partially her fault, she offers to grant him her blessing to make his life easier. Takumi doesn't really have much of a choice, so he agrees to be reborn into this world. Nolan is glad to hear that because it makes this a lot easier for her. She tells him to open his status screen to check out the new life he will have. When Takumi does, he finds out that Nolan is planning to give him a 17-year-old body, even though he's 40. Nolan tells him not to bother with the minor details. More importantly, he still needs to pick out his job. She tells him that there are two main classes for jobs. If Takumi wants something more combat-focused, he can pick things like swordsman, knight, or hunter. But if that doesn't appeal to him, he could always pick one of the production jobs instead. Takumi isn't too keen on the idea of fighting, so he opts for a production-focused job instead. Nolan proceeds to embed the job into his soul, along with several extra blessings, before sending him on his way, completely forgetting to provide any sort of tutorial. Takumi crash lands in the middle of a forest, and after managing to get back on his feet, he catches his reflection in a nearby river. It's then he realizes he's truly become a different person, and to his amazement, his arthritis is gone. Deciding to make the most of his new situation, he checks the bag Nolan left with him to see what he's been given. Inside, he finds some food rations and money, which means he doesn't need to worry about starving for the time being. Takumi checks his status screen and sees